I taped Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, and I watched it like on a loop over and over, trying to keep myself feeling Christmassy for 2 months.
Something happens to jump in your way, like, oh, say, the many deer corpses. They're
Yeah.
really ramping up the asshole on him.
Hello, welcome to Radio Mythoverse, official podcast of the Mythoverse, and as always, your hosts are Brad McGowan, writer, creator of Changeling, an urban fairy tale, head of community outreach and public relations, and one of the owners of the Mythoverse. And with us is my co-host, our co-owner, my partner, Matt Trin, writer, creator of Mythics, and head writer. Say hi, Matt.
Hey.
And with us, three of our talents, Dylan, Forrester, and someone you guys all remember from earlier this year, Nebel. That is your guys' cue to say hi.
Cody.
Hi.
What's up?
The ceiling. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so because Christmas is literally a week from us as we are recording, I thought, it'd be a good idea to do a show on Christmas movies. And then I thought to myself, that's lame, that's cliche. Who wants to hear that It's a Wonderful Life is the greatest Christmas movie ever made for the 1000th time?
It is, though.
I thought it was.
I did hear something about It's a Wonderful Life that is pretty funny.
What?
What's that?
Back in the 50s, it was on the FBI's list of communist propaganda.
Oh, it's because the writer was a communist, I think.
No, it's because of a banker. They thought he was a cartoon villain, and only a communist would write him.
To be fair, I mean, bankers are pretty scummy people.
They are, but you don't have to be a communist to hate them.
Yeah, as those of us who unfortunately had to live through the 2008 housing crisis can attest to. But let's not get into that. But yeah, instead of talking about all the cliches, hearing about all those great Christmas movies that we all watch, all those great Christmas specials we watch, and forcing me to have to listen to people praise A Christmas Story and Elf for the umpteenth time to movies I really don't like. My dad made me hate Elf because after he got it on DVD, we watched it like every year for Christmas, and...
Oh, what? He didn't just turn on TBS and leave it there?
No, because I didn't put Elf on TBS. But
I think he's referring to A Christmas Story.
I know he is.
Wait, which one's the one that puts Elf on loop?
I don't know.
Is that USA?
Does anyone do that?
There is a channel that did that. That would just put Elf on a loop forever.
Oh, I hope not. But it's like, yeah, I can't stand A Christmas Story and Elf, and it's all because, the old saying, familiarity breeds contempt. I've seen them both too many times that I cannot stand them.
You know what?
I've never seen Elf, not once.
Every year, Cartoon Network would put on Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. I would fucking watch that every year. Oh my god.
Yeah, me too. My father worked for the government, and right after 9/11, he couldn't come home for Christmas. So we were having Christmas in February, and this would have been February of 2002. And to keep myself in the Christmas spirit, I had taped Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer, and I watched it like on a loop over and over, trying to keep myself feeling Christmassy for 2 months. I haven't watched this thing in like over 20 years, but I have it memorized completely.
Something I learned years later is that it shares a cast with Ocean Dub Dragon Ball Z.
Fruitcake is over 9,000!
Oh god.
So yeah, instead of doing something cliche, I thought something that would be a little more interesting. What if we all brought a movie to the table that may not necessarily be considered a Christmas movie, but at least takes place around it, and we make the case that it counts as a Christmas movie?
A very tangential Christmas.
And before anyone asks, we're not going to talk about Die Hard. That debate's been settled.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Die Hard is not...
We hardly even need to talk about it.
Yeah, no. Die Hard is off the table for this episode completely.
Don't say if it is or isn't. That'll just make people argue in the comments. It's not for discussion.
Do people really argue about it?
Oh
we're
god,
talking about
yes.
Die Hard, damn it.
Oh no.
Look, as far as I'm concerned, it counts. For the purposes of this podcast, Die Hard counts as a Christmas movie. So like I said, debate on that settled. So we're going to talk about stuff that maybe even people haven't heard about. I think this will be a little more interesting. So which of you guys wants to go first?
I'll do it.
Okay, Dylan, you start.
Batman Returns.
Before we go any further, the only criteria these movies have to meet is they have to, at minimum, happen around Christmas. Christmas does not have to factor into the plot. People don't have to talk about it. It just has to happen around Christmas. So, why does Batman Returns count, Dylan?
The reason I consider it a Christmas movie, because whether or not people want to consider like Die Hard one, Batman Returns features Christmas a lot more heavily than a movie like Die Hard, even though it's set during it. There's an overall bigger theme around it.
So it factors into the plot a lot more.
You literally cannot miss it.
Okay.
It gets more messy if you want to say, is the Long Halloween really a Halloween Batman thing? It's nothing ambiguous like that. It's straight up a Christmas Batman movie.
But it's not really about Christmas. That would be my argument. If I had to make the opposing case, I would say that it's an arbitrary setting, or not arbitrary. It's used to contrast the dark and gothic against the happy, but how is Christmas really in the plot?
Sort of towards the end of the movie, like all the parents are going to like this Christmas ball and shit for like rich parents. Okay, if Die Hard's going to be considered one, Batman Returns meets that criteria twice as much.
No, I agree. I agree with you. Shouldn't have tried to argue. I was just kind of like presenting the other side.
No, that's fine. I want to hear if anyone's got counter arguments. Anybody else?
Order in the court. Dun, dun, dun.
I can't say I really have any serious dispute against Batman Returns. Although I have to say that I haven't seen it in a very, very, very long time, and I must admit that at first glance, I would not necessarily assume it was a Christmas movie.
I would watch it because it's pretty much like you can't miss it. You know what I mean?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dylan, since you took mine anyway, that was my original suggestion.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
Now, I'm going to ask, here's a better discussion I would have. Since the whole world seems to agree that it's not, even though it's set at Christmas, why is Iron Man 3 not a Christmas movie?
Make your case, sir.
I don't have a case. I just noticed it's like, I'm thinking of Christmas movies. It's like, well, what's set at Christmas? Iron Man 3. But that's not a Christmas movie.
Is Christmas ever brought up?
Yes.
I guess it fits the criteria then.
I feel like there's some reason why Batman Returns is a Christmas movie. Maybe it's the penguins and the snowy setting.
And well, Die Hard's in California, and the internet seems to agree it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, at the very end of the movie, Alfred, he wishes Bruce a Merry Christmas, and Bruce says, "Merry Christmas, Alfred. Goodwill towards men and women." Talk about Catwoman.
Maybe it's just that none of us really remember Iron Man 3, period.
No.
Yeah, I think that might be it.
It's a watered down Incredible.
There's Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
We collectively keep forgetting that it exists.
I remember Thor the Dark World better than it now, even though at the time Thor the Dark World was considered the bad one. There's one scene in that where Loki and Thor are arguing, and it's after their mother's gotten killed in like this frost giant attack, and Loki's saying, if I hadn't been locked up here, something I could have helped in the fight. He's like, who put me into this cell, brother? And Thor's like, you know damn well who. That dynamic, even though the movie was forgettable, those two bouncing off each other is memorable.
It is easily the best part of the movie. It's a shame that the rest of the movie didn't really keep pace with it.
I don't remember any dynamic in Iron Man 3 even coming close. And I really don't like seeing Tony Stark call a little boy a pussy. And he said that literally.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's like, don't be
really ramping up the asshole on him.
I know. Yeah. And it's like, I got so tired of him and Pepper and him screwing up and why they had him destroy all the armors right before he has them all back for no reason. I don't know. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. It's just, I just want to make the case that being set during Christmas doesn't make it a Christmas movie if the movie itself is unmemorable.
I remember Iron Man 2 more than 3.
Yeah, I guess to really be a Christmas movie, it's got to be a movie you want to watch again at Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or any time for that matter.
Movie, because people do watch it again at Christmas. You can argue your opinion, but the fact is hundreds of thousands of people have made a tradition of that.
I mean, what song plays on the ending credits?
I don't remember.
Let It Snow.
Oh.
I mean, none of us remembered Iron Man 3.
No, I've seen Die Hard enough times to remember that Let It Snow plays for the credits.
Oh, okay.
Sad that Thor the Dark World and Iron Man 2 and 3 were considered like the low point once upon a time.
Okay, so we had Dylan make the case for Batman Returns. Who wants the floor next?
Neville, because I kind of stole the floor.
I mean, I'm okay with whoever going next, unless you're yielding the floor to me. I don't know.
Neville is the Christmas movie.
Okay, so Neville, what have you got?
Okay,
you are.
So I got two of them.
Right.
You know what? I'll throw the easier one to agree with first. Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Is there a particular version, the BBC or the Disney one?
Either of them.
Not the animated, because that does not have Father Christmas.
All right.
That's fair enough. Any of them that do in fact have Father Christmas show up and that involve mentioning that it is always winter but never Christmas, it's kind of central to the plot. But we hardly think of it as a Christmas movie because we kind of think of it more as a Narnia movie first.
Yeah.
Okay.
The second one, I don't know how much people will fight me on it, but it might be the harder sell. The Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's / Philosopher's Stone.
Oh shit.
Hear me out.
Let's hear him out.
There is indeed a scene that takes place at Christmas. They have a Christmas tree. There are ghosts singing Christmas carols. There is a scene of opening presents, and said Christmas present is actually a key plot point not only for that movie, but for future movies.
And if you grew up in the 2000s, it got aired on television at Christmas.
It sure did. I think it might still do.
I think to present like a counter argument, it doesn't reflect my opinion, but I would say you could argue that all the movies take place throughout the span of a school year, right?
A whole year.
Yeah, of a whole year. Because if I remember, does it have Halloween?
It does for, I think, the first one.
Maybe.
Halloween does get brought up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because they could argue, well, yeah, it features in, but it's less of a theme of the movie and kind of more of a plot device for Harry to get the cloak, right?
Hey, Dylan, video game question. Would you think it's more accurate to say that Hogwarts Legacy is Bully with magic, or is Bully Harry Potter without magic?
Oh my god. If only Hogwarts Legacy had the balls to have like a character like Jimmy Hopkins, but like British.
Okay, back on track.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, derailed. Although I do like replaying that game at Christmas just for the Christmas missions. Like I have the scholarship edition where you have to like get chased by Santas and stuff and do a Christmas concert rhythm game.
I could actually use Bully as an example. Kind of goes in with the Harry Potter thing. It's like you wouldn't necessarily consider Bully like a Christmas game, even though it heavily features Christmas for an entire chapter, right? Same thing with like Harry Potter. Yeah, Christmas is used for Harry to get the invisibility cloak, but you could argue that's more of a plot thing than, main central theme of the story.
I'll just piggyback on what Forrester said. If it was good enough to be aired on TV, Christmas, then it counts.
I'm not saying I disagree. I'm presenting, the counterpoint.
I guess my only counterpoint to that counterpoint is that if the criteria is Christmas features prominently, it certainly features prominently enough to affect the plot. So squeaks by perhaps, but I think it still qualifies.
Yeah. I mean, I'd have no problem watching Lion Witch in the Wardrobe or Sorcerer's Stone on Christmas.
Yeah.
I guess I would say that's the second criteria it has to meet. Would you watch this on Christmas?
Yeah, I think I would.
And I guess that's why Iron Man 3 didn't make it.
And that's why Batman Returns makes it, because you would. I would, at least.
I do. I do almost every year.
Yeah, for like all of its campiness, it's so visually engaging and unique, and it has Christopher Walken, that, I don't know, you want to see it again, even though when you really think about what's happening, it has as much camp as the Schumacher films, by far. It's not like the first one. Yeah. But yet, it's so weird and off-kilter. It's got enough of that Burton edge and style. You just want to see it again, and you're not even sure why. Whereas when Schumacher's took over, he kind of, by company order, sanded all those rough edges off, and Forever's a little watchable. Robin is ironically watchable, but they're not the same thing.
Right.
Batman and Robin is good with riff tracks, and only with riff tracks.
Forever is basically Returns but gayer. Batman Returns is definitely my favorite Batman movie of all time. As much as I like the Batman, I will always have a soft spot for Batman Returns. I rewatched it recently and I had actually forgotten just how raunchy that movie is.
I'm partial to the first one. I like those origin movies that we don't really get those. I mean, now we kind of do with Marvel, but, used to it was like every 10 years. So like Superman in 78, Batman in 89, Spider-Man in 2002. It's like every decade you got one of these self-contained origin movies that, like, if they had only done that one movie, that could have been that character on film. I don't feel like we got another one until maybe Wonder Woman in 2017, maybe? Maybe
Iron
Deadpool?
Iron Man 2007.
Iron Man 08, yeah, but it didn't have an iconic villain like Gene Hackman's Luthor or Joker in 89. or Green Goblin. I never at any point made fun of William Dafoe's Goblin. I loved him at the time. I didn't even make Power Ranger jokes about the mask. I'm just saying.
All right, we've gone through Dylan, we've gone through Nebel. Forrester, what's your case?
I didn't have one because he took Batman Returns. I guess I could throw out Gremlins. I know this wouldn't count anyone but me, but I watched Star Trek Generations at Christmas just because two reasons. I saw it at Christmas time, and it has a quick Christmas scene in the Nexus in Picard's fantasy, but that's not enough to count, and I don't even consider it a good movie. It's just a tradition of mine personally. My real pick would have to be Gremlins.
Present your case, sir.
Well, it opens with the music literally Christmas. It opens with is it Darlene Love, Christmas Baby, Please Come Home. I mean, right off the bat, they're basically telling you this is a Christmas movie. And then, oh God, Phoebe Cates' Santa Story. Like the movie that spoiled millions of kids on Santa Claus. It's a terrible pick for a Christmas movie. It's an evil one if you show it to your small children. You are the worst person ever. But God knows it's a Christmas memory for some people.
To be fair, it's a PG movie.
No, when she's talking about her father getting stuck in the chimney and how he died there, she's like, and that's how I found out there's no Santa Claus. That's what I mean. Not that it's so extreme. It's not. It's a PG movie. I mean that it explicitly spoils Santa Claus for the kids.
Santa Claus denialism.
Yeah. Like I've met so many people who were children in 1984 that's how they found out was that specific movie.
I do kind of enjoy.
You're just a Santa Claus denier.
I do enjoy that they made a California set actually look like the Midwest in winter. I can attest to
Santa
this.
Claus isn't real. Community factor find this false. NORAD tracks Santa Claus's movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can attest to this having lived in Michigan. Matt can attest to this, and now that Nebel's in Minnesota, he can attest to this too. Like, it is not uncommon to see cars in the middle of winter in the Midwest get covered with that much snow.
Mm-hmm.
See, in Southern Virginia,
this
I've
winter,
seen
though.
snow a couple times. We had snow the day after Christmas in 2004. That's the closest I've ever been to a white Christmas. It gets cold, it just doesn't snow. Or if it does, it melts. Like, it'll snow at night, and in the morning, there's only snow on the grass, and one more day, that snow's gone.
I only had to brush snow off my car a couple times this month.
I think back when I lived in Michigan and I was on the west side. I think, Matt, you live on the east side, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, because the west side of Michigan is right next to Lake Michigan. We got to deal with a little phenomenon known as lake effect snow.
What does that mean?
Whole bunch of snow gets dumped because you live next to a lake that could pass for an ocean.
Nope, totally new to me.
Yeah, we've got a pretty big lake here, Lake Waco.
You need to look up pics of what one of the Great Lakes looks like, Dylan.
Oh, I'll be sure to do that.
One time when it was snowing, I set up a little TV and an N64 outside on the porch. I was under an overhang, but I wanted to play the Severnaya bunker level of GoldenEye in actual cold weather. I was like trying to do like virtual reality, and I called it GoldenEye.
But yeah, back when I lived in Michigan, I think there was like days, maybe even like a whole week where I had to brush snow off because it would snow that much.
Honestly, I don't mind brushing snow off the car. You know what's the worst?
Scraping the ice
off the windshield. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Oh, wait until you get the rain and snow weather.
Oh, God, no.
Wait till you have to drive through a whiteout. I have not been more fearful for my life driving a car than when I had to drive through a whiteout back when I lived in Michigan. Because snowflakes reflect light, so your headlights are completely useless and it's coming down so hard you can't see anything for like a few feet around you. And because it's snow on the ground, it's not safe to drive on fast, so you're driving very slowly, hoping to God you don't accidentally hit something, or something hits you.
Yep. And let me tell you, some of these Minnesota drivers, they like to ride your ass, like a lot. Like 90% of their driving is ass rides. So now you got like rear-ending problems to worry about if something happens to jump in your way, like, say, the many deer corpses.
Oh, those are all respawn.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'll just say though, just because I now live in the Pacific Northwest, it does not mean it doesn't come with its own stresses on the road. Driving on a dark street in the middle of a downpour, that'll stress you out.
Yeah, that sounds pretty rough.
Like,
You got thunderstorms up there?
I freak out like in the passenger seat if the weather really sucks. Yeah, so I can't imagine driving in that kind of weather.
But yeah, to bring it back to Gremlins, yes, that is absolutely a movie I would watch on Christmas, no hesitation. Also, if you really think about it, the Gremlins, They never actually kill anybody in that movie.
Right.
No one is going to pop in and say, I'm wrong.
I don't think so.
I haven't seen it in a while.
Not somebody. Maybe not. Okay.
Wait, they don't kill anyone?
I don't know.
They just go around being destructive.
Wasn't there like a teacher that died? Was it
There was a crabby old lady whom, you know how some old people need a chair to get up the stairs?
Yeah.
They turbocharge that chair and they launch her out of her house into a
Okay,
snowbank.
Wait. Wasn't there like a science teacher that like died or some shit, if I remember correctly?
Oh yeah, I think they stick a syringe in him. Or it's heavily implied they do that.
I think gremlins kill each other, though. I know they did in the second one. Like, do you remember the brain gremlin? Where he's like, what do we want? Civilization. That's what we want. The Geneva Conventions, Susan Sontag. All the things your culture enjoys did we admire. And this gremlin pops up and he shoots him point blank in the head. Now, was that civilized? No, clearly not. Fun, but in no sense civilized.
That's freaking
Do you
great.
guys, nobody remembers the brain gremlin?
I didn't see Gremlins 2, but...
Oh, yeah. Gremlins 2 is like bonkers off the wall. It's a satire almost of the first.
It's even more
one-time bit.
cartoony.
Oh, it was way more cartoony. Overly so. Like at one point, a gremlin gets out of the building and when he breaks through the wall, he leaves a perfect Batman logo. They knew they were being more cartoony. They kill Leonard Maltin. Because Leonard Maltin had said the first movie was terrible. So he actually cameoed as himself. And then there's a part where the gremlins are eating the film reel and Hulk Hogan stands up in the theater and is saying, hey, get gremlins back on there. And then it resumes the movie.
You know, I've seen that clip before. I did not know that was in the movie.
Oh, it's in the movie. Yeah, Gremlins 2. They knew they couldn't redo the first one, so they just go bells to the wells. I don't want to say the actual phrase, making fun of themselves.
I always assumed that was one of those like in theater commercials telling people not to like talk during the movie. I didn't think that was actually.
Oh, it's part of the film. I believe it's right after the Gremlins take out Leonard Maltin. And they make fun of themselves too. Like the Phoebe Cates character is trying to tell her dark story of why she hates Easter, but this time everyone else is interrupting her and they're like, oh, no, not again. Stop. Also, cameos, they brought back pretty much all the people and side characters from the first one. I'm a big defender of Gremlins 2, but if Gremlins 1 still had a bit of plausible horror movie to it, Gremlins 2 knows that it can't do that again and doesn't try. It's literally a live action cartoon with an insanely high budget.
Gremlins 2 apologists.
Well, because they're in New York City, but they couldn't actually afford to do them in New York City. They have them take over like a corporation building of like a cable broadcasting company. So they set it in one building. And I don't think that's Christmas, so it's not relevant here.
But yeah, I mean, like the first one definitely. And it's like one of those rare movies that balances comedy and horror so well, because that is not an easy thing to pull off, because you run the risk of leaning too far into one or the other.
Mm-hmm. And you kind of fall off the appeal of either.
Mm-hmm. All right. Matt, what's yours?
Yeah, mine was Taken.
Liam Neeson?
No, I'm saying it was Taken.
Someone took
You
it.
know the Narnia movie?
No, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely Christmas movie.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Santa shows up.
Good presents, you know?
Mm-hmm.
One of the first things you learn about Narnia is that it's always winter but never Christmas.
I guess while we give you time to maybe think of an alternate one, I've got one that'll... Okay, this one is probably going to be the most controversial pick because it's not a Christmas movie, but it kind of is, but it's not, but it kind of is, but it's not. It is...
Make your case.
It is the mini-series for the Discworld novel Hogfather.
I think I could accept that.
Now, the thing with Hogfather, it's not really Christmas, but it's the Discworld's equivalent for Christmas. Hogswatch, the holiday that it's supposed to be based on, it has all the trappings of Christmas. And in fact,
I mean, I'd be willing to accept Hogfather. Because if we accept that every other cartoon that doesn't take place in our world has a Christmas episode, then I guess I could accept Hogfather as a Christmas movie.
The Hogfather, he is basically their Santa. But I mean, like, here's the thing, like... He's never always been the Hogfather. He's sort of changed as beliefs have changed over on the disc across time. And then there's also that really good speech about belief that Death has at the end of the miniseries. The line about how we have to believe the little lies so that we can believe in the big lies. Like when he asks, show me an atom of justice. Is this a thing that actually exists in reality? This is a concept. It's a lie that people believe in. But the fact that people believe in it makes it real. And that's why Death likes humanity so much. He describes us as the point where the falling angel meets the rising ape. It's our belief that makes the world what it is.
Well, There's a take for you.
Not only that, Michelle Dockery is absolutely hot as Susan.
I can accept it.
Seriously, Michelle Dockery as Susan in Hogfather is absolutely hot. Fight me.
I don't think anyone is.
Oh, that's Lady Mary. I didn't know her real name. Downton Abbey.
They're pretty good. Pretty good. Little Cruella in there.
She's Death's granddaughter. That's why she looks like that.
All right.
Also, I think somewhere towards the end, there's a cameo from Sir Terry Pratchett. The late Sir Terry Pratchett, I should say.
All right. Matt, have you thought of one?
Not really.
You haven't?
No, because there's too many movies that are set Christmas. That are actually Christmas movies.
I got through last week watching a Stallone action movie, Cobra, with Alabaster Scarf, and the opening scene was at a grocery store that was all decked out for Christmas. Would you guys consider Cobra one that counts?
No, we didn't count Star Trek Generations, even though there's that one scene of Picard during Christmas.
Okay, yes, fair, yeah. It does not meet the criteria enough to count.
That one counts to me. The Star Trek one counts to me. Should we count Christmas episodes of certain TV shows?
That would go without saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Batman the Animated Series, everybody points out Christmas with the Joker, but that's not actually that good. I would say A Bullet for Bullock, which most things don't use right after Christmas as a setting. And I always liked that episode set in the week between Christmas and New Year's, because I think there's like a weird liminal space atmosphere in that week that's perfect for noir, but outside of that one cartoon episode has never been utilized.
There's an idea for it.
So,
There you go.
Okay, so what exactly happens in that episode? Because I don't remember that one.
It's just a guy that's trying to kill Harvey Bullock, that fat cop that doesn't like Batman. So Batman is having to bodyguard him, and the two get along about as well as you would think. It's not really about Christmas. It just takes place during that week, and people are taking decorations down and stuff. Someone asks him, like, what are you doing for New Year's? And he's like, same thing I did for Christmas, my laundry. And I don't know. There's no reason for it to be set during that time. It's just kind of adds mood.
And it just works so well.
Yeah, because the off-kilterness of being after a holiday just kind of fits with the dark vibe that show had. When they did Christmas with the Joker, they hadn't found their tone yet. That was a straight-up Adam West story in animation.
I watched that recently. It was not very good.
No, I do like Christmas with the Joker, but it's in my bad episodes. I have 3 bad Christmas episodes that I love to rewatch anyway. Christmas with the Joker, the one where the Power Rangers save Santa Claus. Yes, that's real. And G.I. Joe's Cobra Claws are coming to town, where the Cobra guys shrink down to the size of the toys. They are terrible, but they are entertainingly terrible.
I'll give them that, yeah.
Like, you will have fun, especially if you watch it with friends. Bonus points if you watch it with normal friends that hate this stuff and don't know why they're watching it. You will have priceless reactions. But it takes a certain degree of self-confidence, because if they've seen Christmas with the Joker without seeing the rest of Batman the Animated Series, you may have put them off and given them a terrible opinion of you. So I advise caution. It's not a good way to introduce people to the series, but you will have fun with their normie reactions.
I mean, I'm sure there's far better things to start with. I don't know who's going to start
Absolutely,
with
there's better
Christmas
things
with
to
the
start
Joker.
It's terrible. And it's weird that that's
Yeah.
the first appearance of Robin in their universe, and Joker. That is episode 2 of the entire thing.
Honestly, looking back on it, there's a lot more duds than I remember in the first season.
I made a list of watching order that turns that first season into a very tight storyline, but you do have to skip a lot to get that effect.
You're going to have to DM that to me.
As bad as Christmas with the Joker is, you can't deny that Mark Hamill singing Jingle Bells, Batman Smells isn't transcendent, even if the rest of the episode is not.
I do remember, Kids WB using that for a promo.
Sounds about right. There was a Simpsons Christmas episode that was kind of light on the Christmas part. It was Marge Not Be Proud, the one where...
Oh, where Bart steals the
tries stealing
not Mortal Kombat game?
Yeah, and it just disappoints Marge so bad that
Bart actually feels bad about it.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Bart's feeling bad about something.
I mean, he did come around in the Thanksgiving episode where he messed up Lisa's centerpiece. Although it took Lisa trying to get him to sort of have empathy to make that happen. But Bart is capable of feeling bad for things he does. At least he...
Early on, he definitely... Yeah, before the Flanderization set in.
But yeah, that episode was it goes really light on the Christmas elements. You could take the Christmas out of the plot and it would still work. Sitting around Christmas does kind of make the message hit a little harder because it's Bart learning to think about other people besides just himself and what he wants and how doing things for others makes you feel better, actually.
Hey, on the topic of Christmas with the Joker, I just double checked. That is Mark Hamill's premiere as the Joker, is singing that song.
Well,
that is the
You could have had a worse debut, is all I'm going to say.
But yeah, that is the first appearance of it for my whole generation is the Joker. Even though, like I said, I can't defend the episode as being good, it is historic. Although
It's
I've
got-
seen him so much now in interviews. At the time, I had no idea that was Luke Skywalker. Because who read the credits on a cartoon in the 90s? Half the time they aired commercials over them. I was oblivious. So I wasn't picturing Mark Hamill's face at all. It is a little messed up for me now in that I've seen him in interviews. I've seen him do that voice that can put a face with it. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
It doesn't ruin it at all. I love the Joker. It just, I do miss those days when I didn't even know. I was oblivious. I think everyone was.
I wish I didn't know Mark Hamill was an asshole, but that's a different story.
Okay, yeah.
womp womp.
Did anyone recognize that voice as Mark Hamill? I wouldn't have.
No.
As a kid, no. As an adult, yeah, I can kind of.
Now,
figure it
I
out.
mean, now I've seen him like at conventions where he does Luke finding out the Joker is his father, and he's like, "I'm your dad, kiddo." No.
Oh, man.
I think in his early appearances as the Joker, now that I listen to it, I can hear Luke Skywalker more than I hear the joke. You know what I mean? Like I can hear kind of voice he had back then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now
'cause,
that I
you know,
know
when-
it and I'm looking for it, I notice it.
well, yeah, at least his old appearances. Like I hear more Luke Skywalker than Joker.
Back on Discworld and Hogfather, I'm pretty sure we've all seen this iconic webcomic.
Oh,
That's what that's from?
Yeah, that's
I didn't know that was from something real. I thought that was just a webcomic.
If it's not from Hogfather, I'm pretty sure it's based on it.
I've
Oh, yeah,
never
it is from
actually
the-
read
it
any
is
of
from the
Pratchett's
Hogfather.
books. People have told me to. A friend of mine had a tattoo of the fifth elephant, but I don't know the context. I just know she had like a flaming elephant as a tattoo.
You are not going to read anything else like Discworld. That's the best way I can put it. It finds a way to sort of balance like being parody and satire with sincerity.
Now, I know Pratchett has passed on. Was anything left unresolved?
I'm not entirely sure because I think most, if not all, the stories in the books, they're self-contained. All I can say with any certainty is that he left the future of the Discworld universe in the hands of his daughter, and he said he knew that it would be in good hands if she took over.
Is this a universe where there's a conversation between two flies who only live 24 hours and they're talking about how different things are from when they were young?
That would not surprise me if that happens. The humor in Discworld gets really absurd. I mean, like, there's a whole tribe of tiny fairies that are a cross between the Smurfs and Pics. This is the level of silly we're dealing with. Like, there's a whole novel, soul music, that's all about a rock star being possessed by the force of music.
Wow. I was just making sure that, like, say if George R. Martin passed away, reading Game of Thrones would become utterly pointless once you knew that that final book is never, ever coming. I mean, it probably isn't anyway, but maybe.
And he's also said that he's not going to have anyone finish it either. So the only ending you get is the ending to the show.
Yeah, because I was looking at a first one from one of those free library boxes the other day, and like the first chapter or so, it seemed like a really good read. I was like, you know, maybe I do want to read this, but then everybody tells me like, no, because he's never going to finish it.
Right. Yeah, I doubt they're gonna do like a fucking Tom Clancy where even after he's gone, they still like write Tom Clancy books with his name, but it's by a different writer. Because I got like a bunch of Tom Clancy books. Some of them weren't even by him.
Oh, a lot of that's what a lot of authors do too, such as James Pearson. He had
Right.
a bunch of ghostwriters.
Yeah.
I feel bad
Yeah.
for the ghostwriters they had to get to help with Bill Clinton on his book. You know, the James Pearson Bill Clinton novel.
Right.
Oh my, now I understand.
Huh?
Something I just learned about Rihanna Pratchett, Terry Pratchett's daughter. Okay, so even though she's now in charge of Discworld, she's more known for her video game writing, and she worked on Heavenly Sword, Mirror's Edge, the Tomb Raider reboot, and Overlord, which that puts a lot of that game's humor in perspective.
oof.
Is the game good? I've never heard of them.
It has a cool idea, it's just a little bit jank. But it's like sort of got that comedic parody on fantasy tropes, and it's like, yeah, this is written by a Pratchett. Of course it does.
Not knowing video games has caused me some awkwardness when I've complimented somebody's fan art or something that's a parody of a game, and I compliment their creativity, but they didn't make it, and that's an awkward conversation. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that's a cool design. And they're like, that's Cammy. Who? Real conversation.
She has been working on some television projects. Based on her dad's work, she worked on The Watch.
She completely disowned that one.
If you don't know who Cammy is, I'm gonna beat your ass.
She worked on The Watch, Good Omens, and We Free Men.
I still don't know which game Chun-Li is in, Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, but there's like a 50-50 chance I'll get that right.
All right, so Matt, what were you saying?
Hey, Brett. Okay, so she did not work on The Watch, or at least the current incarnation of it, because she has been outspoken about how it's not based on her father's work. That's how far away they deviated from the source material.
Oh, God, I can imagine. It only got like one season. There were only 8 episodes.
Yeah, I think what killed it was the fact that Pratchett was actively against them.
That's damning. That is very damning. Okay, actually, you know what, Matt? I think I just might have found one you can talk about, because this is a movie that I just remembered is now going up for free on YouTube. One that I think more people should see.
Yes.
Look.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's basically a Christmas story anyway, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Since the baby is named after Night.
I just remembered there's another one. This is a David Cronenberg movie.
I think anyone could say that a David Cronenberg movie is definitely not a Christmas movie.
Just listen. It's not a typical David Cronenberg movie, actually. This is a British gangster movie called Eastern Promises, which has Viggo Mortensen as this hitman for the Russian mafia. And what happens is that this Russian prostitute, she dies in childbirth. And the nurse who was with her when she died, the only thing she's left behind besides the baby was a diary of her experiences, getting exploited and trafficked by the Russian mob. And how she ended up regretting her decision completely. And it's sad. You don't need me telling you that. But it's set around Christmas, and the nurse takes the name of the baby Christina. Oh, and here's a fun fact about the movie. For his role, Viggo Mortensen had to put on these fake tattoos because, Russian gangsters like their tattoos. This tells their whole life story. And when he went to go have lunch at a Russian restaurant in London, they were so dead on accurate, he was freaking the patrons out. And once he caught on to why they were acting that way, he was like, oh, these are fake. I'm an actor.
And he could have just told them that he's Aragorn.
This was in 2007. Also, he doesn't look a thing like Aragorn in this movie. Like, seriously.
I know.
It is amazing. Like, you look at him and you're like, that's the same guy. What?
Oh, yeah, because he's blonde. Okay, so the Lord of the Rings movies were like 2001, 2002, and 2003.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they would have been out by then.
Also, I don't think Viggo Mortensen had much of a career after Lord of the Rings ended.
Well, not any of them, because they got either paid out of royalties. So anything they buy from Lord of the Rings, they got money from it. They're all basically very, very rich right now.
Yeah, that kind of explains why the only thing I've heard Sean Astin in recently was that 2012 Ninja Turtle series on Nickelodeon.
Right, I missed that. You know what I actually missed? The 2003 Ninja Turtles.
Which, by the way, that one has a really nice Christmas episode, which I don't think even aired on TV for some reason.
So, thinking of Lord of the Rings, you know how there's a story about Sean Bean taking a hike to the set because he could not fly helicopters?
Mm-hmm.
You know who's responsible for that?
Oh, who?
The actors who portrayed Marion Pippin, because they decided to play a prank on him by
Billy Boyd and Dominic. What was it?
Well, they told the pilot that Dean was a flight enthusiast, so they encouraged him to do all kinds of tricks, which freaked them out.
So we have Billy Boyd and Dominic Monaghan to thank for that.
Yes.
On the subject of '03 Turtles, I'm ashamed to admit this, being an 80s baby, but that was actually my first Ninja Turtles, because I don't know why as a kid in the 80s, 90s, I thought they were stupid, but I did not get into them the first go around. I knew they were there, did not like it. I don't know. I thought they'd act more teenagery or something edgy than they were. I thought they were like mean guys or something, and I did not like them at all. And I made an identity out of hating the Turtles. It was '03 Turtles when I was about 16 that converted me, which is weird because actually they were more the edgier Turtles. Go figure.
The one thing I didn't like about the 2012 Turtles, I didn't like the Donatello April romance. I always thought that was weird.
I mean, at least it was one-sided.
Well, yeah, I hate that they keep aging her down. It's like, stop that. Jesus.
At least he's not Megan Fox.
don't want to get weird, but I always thought April was like the hot teacher or babysitter crush or something. Like she was that cool, older, grown woman that there might be a certain amount of puppy crush on, but not so much that they'd even be jealous of Casey Jones. Like completely off limits, but yeah, with a little bit of infatuation. That's how I always saw the April and Turtles dynamic. She has to be a grown woman, like between 20 and 30 somewhere with a job and everything, an apartment. Making her equal to them just kills it. It's stupid.
Okay, I think it's time for us to wrap this up. We talked a lot about some great movies that might not be what you consider traditional Christmas movies, but you know what? They meet two conditions. One, they happen around Christmas, and two, you would want to watch them around Christmas. Yes, I would want to watch Eastern Promises around Christmas.
Oh, okay. No one's stopping you.
And you know what? I am going to have a hot take. The Godfather counts because Luca Brasi gets killed around Christmas.
Hey, spoilers, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
Spoilers!
Jeez.
Spoilers for a
old.
40-year-old movie everybody's seen?
A 50-year-old movie.
Yeah, a 50-year-old movie that everybody has seen.
I know.
I mean, come on, that scene where he's just getting geared up. Have yourself a merry little Christmas is playing. Michael is out Christmas shopping with Kay, and then Luca goes to
Luca
meet
Brasi sleeps with the fishes, I think someone said.
Gets a knife in his hand from Salazzo.
Didn't someone say he sleeps with the fishes? I swear I
Yeah,
remember
that was
someone saying-
Tom. That was Tom.
Yep.
Oh, despite not being Italian, no Sicilian tradition's better than Sonny.
I was so wrapped up in that movie when I was 17. I wouldn't put on a suit and fedora to watch The Godfather in costume.
Good boy.
I was a weird child.
All right, yeah. All I guess we can say is just, if there's anything to close out on, it's we all hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy time with your families, your loved ones. And, whether you're watching It's a Wonderful Life, Miracle on 34th Street, Nightmare Before Christmas, or even some of the movies we brought up in here, as long as you're with your family, as long as you're spending time with them, showing them you love them, show them that you care. Doesn't even matter if there's any gift exchanging, because that's not what it's about. The gift giving is just a symbol. That's not the point. Point is that for like one day out of the year, even if you're not religious, we all come together as families and we tell each other we love each other, and we are spending today to show that, because family is the best gift of all.
Hear, hear.
Yeah.
And if you do happen to be religious, it is about how we as a people were given the greatest gift of all.
Mm-hmm. God bless us, everyone.
So yeah,
I'm Tiny Tim.
Nothing else to say except, Merry Christmas.
Merry
Happy New
Christmas.
Year.
Okay, gonna stop recording.